Did you come up with anything?
Well, I remember one winter. It was pretty heavy snow. Fremont, we're about 35 miles off Lake Michigan, so we get a lot of lake effect snow.
Yeah.
And that particular evening, it had come down pretty heavily and pretty hard. And so my dad rallied my brother and I. My brother and I are only 16 months apart, and to go outside. We're probably I may have just started high school, and Denny probably was a freshman or something like that.
Okay.
So we're teenage young men,
Sure.
able to shovel the driveway.
Absolutely.
And so my dad, we all got our snowmobile suits on and boots and so forth, hats and gloves, and we'd gone out, shoveled the driveway, and when we all came into the house to take our garb off, the landing in the entryway is probably only maybe 3.5 or 4 feet by 4 feet.
Uh-oh.
So you got my dad, my brother, and myself standing in this little sectioned area.
Sure.
And, I pretty much got most of my stuff off, and
Okay.
my dad bent over to kind of, take his boots off and take his snowmobile suit off, and so forth like that. And when he bent over, I kind of nudged him on the bottom, and he fell forward and knocked my brother down. And he turned around and looked at me, and I could tell by the look in his eye that he wasn't mad, but he knew that we were kind of joking around. And I knew he was coming after me. So I was standing by the door,
Sure.
and I opened the door, ran out the door. Our driveway may be, at that time, 25, 30 feet long before you hit the street.
Sure.
He was still in pretty much his gear, had part of it halfway down. I was pretty much had mine off.
Nice.
So I could get away real fast, but my dad caught me before I got to the end of the driveway.
Did he?
He's pretty quick, pretty fast, and he picked me up and stuck my head in the snowbank that we just put alongside of the driveway. So we laughed about that for quite some time.
See, you did have something funny happen to you. And so the one time I had gone to Rockford, we were on a retreat. I slept most of the time because I
all of the time. You made one.
I made one class. I got my certificate. I saw it. And I was the fact that I even went down there was
that was a miracle.
That was an act of God. So we go down there, and so anyways, we go to this pizza place, and it was like 6 or 7 o'clock at night, and I remember I slept all day just to go.
It was worth making that pizza.
Yeah, and it was pizza pie, so it was like the real Chicago like pie pizza.
Yeah.
And so we're sitting there, and there's 10 or 15 of us, and we're sitting there, and all of a sudden you start praying, and all of a sudden the lights just start to go out, and then he stops praying, and they come back up, and then we're like, okay, and he starts praying again, and the lights go out again, and I was like, all right, that was weird. And I finished up. And then after the third one, it was like, okay, you're not allowed to talk anymore. We got to wait and eat our pizza. And I remember that pizza being so good because it was like.
Yeah, it's really thick. And most time you can only eat 2 pieces, because
Yeah, you can eat 2 pieces. I could have 1 piece.
Yeah.
I couldn't eat 2.
Actually, I ate 7.
I have a family member who would drive down. He'd drive the bus, the van, or whatever when the guys were going down there. And so he owns a Chevy, and I guess the van was a Ford. And so they're going down there, and he couldn't figure out why the gas tank kept filling up. And since he was driving farther and farther, and the closer he got, he's like, man, we're almost full. To the point that he almost ran out of gas because he didn't realize that the F didn't mean forward.
Right.
And the E wasn't like there, and it's just what he
just the opposite of what he was.
Yeah,
used to.
and the fact that your mind is seeing it that way because you're just so used to seeing something, I found that to be hilarious. So